Sawadika, I'm Kusma Yotas, your host. Welcome to Thailand Today program. At the beginning of 2021, the World Health Organization, WHO, reported that a British strain of COVID-19 has spread to over 60 countries around the globe. The first local cases of the UK variant in Thailand was reported in April, following a cluster outbreak at entertainment venues, and is now spreading rapidly. Virologists warned that this variant spreads 1.7 times faster than the normal strain. So to find out more, we speak to Dr. Anan Jongkaewwattana. He's the Director of Veterinary Health Innovation and Management Research Group. This is the unit of the National Center of Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, calling in short is BIOTEC. So, Sawadika.
Sawadika.
Thank you for being here. Waiting your way.
I'm glad to be here too.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Well, such a what do you call frightening topic we are talking about, but we cannot avoid it. It has to be done. It has to be done. So, sir, a lot of countries around the world are keeping close eyes on this UK COVID-19. So why is that?
So the UK variant is actually one of the so-called variant of concerns.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and today we have at least 4 variants of concerns around the world.
4 types?
4 types, yeah, and the UK strain is one of them.
Okay.
So today we will talk a lot about it today.
Yes.
Okay. The reason why we're concerned about it, because it's highly contagious. That means it can infect people and spreading to other people very rapidly. And these types of viruses, when compared to the normal or the original SARS-CoV-2 COVID virus in last year, this one can infect and replicate very well in our human cells. And it can cause somehow people call it a more severe disease, depending on the setting or the country that we are
it's very doubtful. Why British is supposed to be a very sophisticated country in the world, where people clean, people now high way of living, instead of our friend who originated the disease. Why so?
I think the virus actually can go everywhere, and
it doesn't count where.
Yeah. So I think that very recently that Thai people somehow doesn't be careful enough to protect themselves from getting infected by these types of viruses, and the viruses right now has been changing quite a bit, and therefore talking about the biology of the virus. Somehow we can get into our cell better, and that's why we see more rapid rise of this variant in quite a few settings in the hospital right now.
Is it actually the same or what with the COVID-19 that we know and this UK?
Yeah, biologically speaking, I think this virus is still the same when compared to the original strain of the virus. Suppose this one is the original strain in the Wuhan that we found last year.
Yes.
This one is the UK strain. They might look different from the model here, but biologically speaking, it's the same. It has the protein on the surface of the virus, on the particle. We call it the spike protein. This spike protein actually binds to the receptor on the host cell, and after it binds, it gain the entry into the host cell and replicate more and more to get more baby viruses out. And those viruses can spreading to other people once it gets out of our body. What is so different is that the UK strain right here has undergo the so-called mutation. That means the changes in amino acid on the surface of this spike protein, and that makes this particle can bind to the receptor easily and actually with more efficiency, and then it can get through our body and replicate even more. And that is why this virus is getting a lot of attention right now in the world.
How did it come in?
Oh, this is an interesting question. And This virus actually first discovered in the UK in September last year, and people just noticed there's a rapid rise of the COVID-19 patient in the setting in Kent, which is in the southern part of London. And they found out that there is some certain mutation on the surface of the virus that caused this disease. And when they tracked back what is the original of this virus, it comes from the immunocompromised patient. This immunocompromised patient actually has a really weak immune response. Usually when the virus gets into our body, our immune response will fight, and then just take about a week, the virus gets clear very easily. So in the context of the immunocompromised patient, the antibody, which is a little thing right here, will try to bind to the virus and then get the virus out of the body. But this patient doesn't have that much antibody responses. So the virus has to be in the body for a long time. Virus has time to adapt itself to get away from this antibody response, and that's why it turned out to be this adaptation, and that's the variant come up.
We so far know that when we diagnose this COVID-19, we know what. And can you see the distinction between the two, please? How about this one? Add up more. What is the difference between the two?
Actually, there's not that much difference when compare. Yeah, the COVID-19 virus has about 30,000 base pair, which is the genetic material
this
inside.
Is called base?
No, if you just break it inside, it's going to be the RNA, which is the genetic material that packed inside this particle. If you bring it out and you compare it between the two, it's there about 99% identical between the two. Only maybe just a few, about 20 or 25 places that are different between the two viruses, and that are really significant enough for the virus to change the characteristic, and that can cause more disease in people. Yep.
In changing the characteristic, what is too hot, too warm? What is there anything?
In the characteristic in terms of in biology field, this means the virus can bind to more cells. Like some in the beginning, people might think that the virus can only infect in the nasal cavity. The virus can maybe go to the lung, and that's it. But changing the characteristic, they might even go to into the brain or to the intestine, or changing we call the tropism, which is the cell that the virus can get into. Or it can even go to other species of animals, like we heard about mink outbreak in the Denmark or in the USA, and that is we call in terms of the characteristic of the virus changing.
So currently the vaccines that have been imported to Thailand, are they able to really assist the building of the immunization against this? UK thing, the UK variant?
Yeah, right now Thailand imported two types of vaccines, right? The first one is called Sinovac. Sinovac is an inactivated virus. That means you got the virus out of the patient, you grow it in a very safe containment, and then you kill the virus by using chemical. Once you kill the virus cannot no longer replicate and cannot be infectious to other people, but you still have this little thing left in the vaccine. So to use this one to inoculate people so that the immune response can come up and against this type of antigen. So this inactivated vaccine still work about 50 to 60% efficiency when with the UK strain. That is the data based on the clinical trial in Chile. Right now, I think Chile vaccinated their people very rapidly, and the data turned out to be about 60% efficacy in protecting the infection. But the second one is AstraZeneca. AstraZeneca is another vaccine. It doesn't come from the virus per se. It actually they use another virus they call adenovirus, which is the virus that causes common cold in people or in chimpanzee. And then they use genetic material of this SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19 to insert into another virus, and then use that harmless virus to inoculate people, so that by the mechanism of the virus replication, it can produce antigen that we inserted in that one. This is the British vaccine, and the British people do the clinical trial in the UK with the UK variant.
Yeah.
The number turned out very, very, very good. It's about 70 to 80% efficacy.
Oh, good.
So in the near future, Thai people will get a lot of AstraZeneca vaccination. So the good news is that this vaccine still works very perfectly for the UK variant.
Thank God. Is there ongoing research in Thailand to develop vaccines that are able to stop the spread?
Of course. I think since the outbreak of COVID-19 last year, a lot of people in Thailand, including our lab at NSTDA, we used a lot of platform technologies to develop a vaccine for Thai people. And I will talk a little bit about my work. We are interested in making vaccine that can protect people from both influenza and COVID-19 at the same time. Because we know that this virus infects into the respiratory cavity or into the nasal cavity. What we did is that we modified the influenza virus. We do a lot of vaccine on influenza virus. We insert the COVID-19 antigen into the genome of influenza virus, and this influenza virus can make the protein from both influenza and COVID-19. And if we use it in people, we can protect influenza and COVID-19 at the same time. This is one example. And I think we heard that people from Chulalongkorn University also use mRNA platform, which is actually one of the most famous vaccine platform right now that people around the world are using, like from Moderna or Pfizer. I think Thai people also using this platform as well. And we heard about Bayer that can make vaccine using tobacco plant, and then they generate a protein from the plant and make plant use those protein as a vaccine to inoculate people. So Thai people have a lot of technology coming in the near future.
How long?
Oh, how long is a good question, but in terms of our research, we are ready to transfer our technology to the next people who are responsible for making it more enough. Right now, we are in the process of doing some animal testing. I think animal things show up very promising results. We are going to another phase, which is the challenging our animals with the real SARS-CoV-2 that see whether the virus can cause any disease in our vaccinated animals. After that, we will go to the factory or manufacturer to mass producing this vaccine so that we can do the clinical phase. We believe that should begin sometimes later this year, and if it works like we plan, we might have our Thai vaccine within next year for some of us.
Looking forward for that, and we're going to have about this matter after the break.
Okay.
Let's take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of Thailand Today. Don't go away.
Thai people have made it through the COVID-19 crisis because we all stayed home for the greater good to stop the spread. However, the global economy is on the decline. Thailand is no different. All sectors need to work together to accelerate our recovery. The government sector will reduce taxes, lower interest rates, and promote the business sector. As for the people, we will have to adapt to the new normal. This means working from home, studying online, finding new means of income, and staying safe. It's only if we can all stay healthy that we'll have the power to move the nation and balance our economy once again.
Welcome back. You are watching Thailand Today. We continue our discussion with Dr. Anan Jongkaewwattana, Director of Veterinary Health Innovation and Management Research Group Unit at BIOTEC on the UK COVID-19 variant that is spreading in Thailand. It's a heavy and hard story. Anyway, so which vaccines has been back by the WHO for being able to build immunization against the UK variant?
So WHO actually back a lot of vaccine right now. I think most of them are developed by the Western world, including the mRNA vaccine from Pfizer and Moderna, and AstraZeneca with and Johnson & Johnson, which also the viral vector developed by the UK and the US. I think one of them is also the Chinese, which is the inactivated, the Sinovac vaccine, also backed by the WHO, and I think from India, which is called Covaxin, which is also inactivated virus. But the reason is we don't have much data about inactivated vaccine, which are the one that developed by Chinese and the Indian, because they haven't done clinical trial against the UK variant with these vaccines. So therefore, the data that the WHO has so far is the one that involving the mRNA vaccine and viral vector. So the data for both of them are very promising, more than about 70% efficacy. But we cannot conclude that the inactivated vaccine, including Sinovac and the Covaxin from India, will not going to work with the UK strain. At least it has more than 50%. That's why the WHO said that if anything more than 50% efficacy, they are all good vaccine and people should get it as soon as possible. Yeah.
Since this virus is moving from COVID-19 into this British and the UK thing, is there any way to go again to some other country, some other name, some other more dangerous?
Oh, of course. I think today we're talking about the UK strain, but if we watch the news and read newspaper, we hear a lot of variants going on around the world right now. I think you have heard about the Indian strain. India right now has a
number one
experiencing
now.
Number two. I think India number two
still,
is experiencing a very rapid rise in patient cases. It's number one in the world right now. It's more than 200,000 cases per day. Brazil has a lot of patients, a lot of mortality as well. Those countries are facing another variant. In India, we call it a double mutant, because they have some specific mutation. Two of them occur at the same time, which people believe that they work like synergistically to infect people and also evading the immune response caused by the original vaccine. I think the same thing also true for the Brazil, that has the Brazilian strain is also one of the variant of concerns. I think South Africa also has another variant of concern as well. So we are right now not only fighting with the UK variant, we have a potential or possibility of getting this variant coming into our country at any time. So we need to be very aware that we are not fighting for only one variant, but a lot more coming in the future.
Those who have been vaccinated with brands that are not suggested by WHO as effective against the UK variant. So once other vaccines become available, would it be wise to re-vaccinate again?
I think this is acceptable in terms of the scientific data. It has been shown in many studies before that the immune response against one particular strain, the variant, that may not work well, the vaccine may not work well with one particular variant, can be boosted with another shot of vaccination that has been designed to match the antigen of the variant. So to answer your question is that if we got vaccinated with something that may not work well with the variant, and if we have another one coming, it's okay. I think it's very wise, and it's actually acceptable to do, to get another shot for to match with the new strain coming up. And this is actually the idea of a lot of vaccine companies doing, like Pfizer planning to do the third shot, because Pfizer knows that their original vaccine are not working well with the variant, and Pfizer has now developing a new strain or the new vaccine formula so that they can use that as a booster for the South African or the Indian strain in the future. So this is very, very acceptable.
Very acceptable, yeah. based on statistics, can people who have completed their COVID-19 vaccination still contract the virus?
Of course, yeah.
And what's the use of vaccination?
Yeah, so I need to make it clear here that vaccine is not developed to protect the infection.
Is what?
Vaccine is developed to protect the disease. So we have heard people that, okay, when we get vaccine, we need to put our mask, we still have to wear our mask because we have chance to get infected by the virus. But the chance that we're going to get severe disease from the COVID-19 will be very, very low. So even though I think the data statistic from Sinovac in Chile is a good example, people get about 50% chance of infection once they got vaccinated, but less than 5% of them go to the hospital or go to the ICU when compared to the people who haven't vaccinated at all. So the idea is that when we get vaccine into our body, we have a shot into our arm. Our body will have antibody produced as a result of those vaccination, and the antibody has been circulating everywhere in our body. But the only place that the antibody didn't go is in our nose. Therefore, if we get go and get the virus somehow, the virus go to our nose, and it get there and replicate.
So
but
clever.
when the virus want to go to make damage into our body, it goes through the blood system, go to the circulation, and that's where the vaccine take action, because the virus cannot do any harm to our organ because antibody is right there in the blood waiting to fight with the virus. So the basic idea is that vaccination help people to stay healthy. Even though they get infected, they don't feel ill, or they're still just fine. And that is why we can reduce the number of people going to the hospital this way. Yeah.
What do you foresee for Thailand's third waves of COVID-19?
In the very near future, I foresee that it's going to be keeping going up right now. I think we're going to see in the next few weeks, not month, but I think in the next few weeks that the number will remain, I think above 1,000 cases per day. Cases. But after that, when people get more idea about what happened to our country right now, they will have actually more guard up, and they be careful and not allowing themselves to get exposed to the virus that easily. I think the case will start coming down. But because Thailand are not going to the lockdown last year, so the rate of going down will be pretty slow when compared to last year. I think it might go into a few hundred or sometimes 100 or 200 at the end. But we still get daily infection every day from now on. Yep.
For the sake of our audience, for not to be panicked, so okay, we have to think very, very black and white. So the COVID-19, the symptom is fever, cough,
sore throat.
Yeah,
and sometimes you can have lost the smell, the sense of smell and taste.
Sometimes that means not for sure.
Not for sure. And for the severe cases can go for the lung infection. They have pneumonia and difficulty breathing. And at the end, they might get some. When they can't breathe and may have to go to the ICU to get the ventilation. Yeah.
So if they're not categorized into these, it's still better, it's still okay. There's no fever, there's no throat sore,
Usually when people got infected by the virus, about 80% of them will have a very mild symptom. That may be very, just fever for 1 or 2 days, and then they are fine, they can recover, and then everything will get to normal. But 20% might need some medical attention, like need to go to the hospital to get more oxygen. About 15% of that might be get better in a week. About only 5% might have more severe symptoms.
So that can be cured. It can be cured by self, right? Yes. By our own.
This is something that we still don't truly understand what happened to this particular patient. But but the virus, we believe that it's our immune response that produced to fight back with the virus, but somehow it come too much and that make damage to our own body.
We did talk about COVID-19 just before we saying goodbye. How about this Farang things, the British, what is the additional what you call additional
symptom. Yeah. I think that right now we have some reported from the Thai doctor that the people might experience some rashes on the skin and eye infection, and somehow they have some different color in the toe and in the nail sometimes.
What color going to be?
It might be some purple,
really?
From red and purple. But those kinds of symptoms are not very well known when compared to the report from other countries.
Yes,
so I think it's still too early to say that these symptoms show up something significant. But people have said that people might experience some coughing, fever, and muscle ache more than the normal strain. Yeah.
All right, sir. So thank you so much for sparing your time, and wish you all the best. Because there's a lot of work to do about this spread.
Thank you very much for having me today.
And please do come back and tell us more if you have anything in mind.
Of course.
Right. Thank you, sir. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. Thank you so much. Dr. Anan Jongkaewwattana, Director of Veterinary Health Innovation and Management Research Group Unit at BIOTEC on the how UK variant of COVID-19 that is currently spreading in Thailand is more dangerous than the original variant. That's all the time we have for today's episode. We broadcast every Tuesday to Friday at 9 p.m. on NBC World and live on YouTube. I'm Kusuma Yuta. สวัสดีค่ะ